Hello and welcome back to the show floor of Embedded Systems Conference 2011. I'm Brian Fuller, Editorial Director with EE Life. Welcome back to our live streaming program, second of 3 days for 4 hours a day, 10 to 2. And we are just rocking and rolling here with our next guest, Bill Driver from LeCroy, who's going to, he's brought along a little eye candy, as you can see here. This is the little LeCroy WaveRunner, not so easy to say, but a little bit more powerful in its innards than in my enunciation. So Bill, you guys had a version of this at Embedded Nuremberg, but you're actually just announcing it this week.
That's correct. We announced it on Monday.
Okay, so tell me about the WaveRunner, how it's new, and what the value proposition is.
Okay, very good. Well, starting back, WaveRunner's been one of the oldest and strongest brands for LeCroy, dating over 10 years. It's represented the mid-range scope market. So today it represents 400 megahertz to 4 gigahertz. And so the first WaveRunner 6ZI we announced in February was this new platform here that you see. That expanded our bandwidth range from 2 gigahertz previously now to 4 gigahertz. So our span and bandwidth is larger. What we announced yesterday was the HRO version, which stands for High Resolution Oscilloscope. So the big feature here is a hardware-enabled 12-bit ADC resolution.
Wow.
So our engineers appreciate the lower noise and higher precision that they can achieve with this scope.
And so what application areas do you think are most interested in this? Communications, obviously?
There's a real easy answer of anyone that has a signal that can be met with 400, 600 megahertz, because an 8-bit alternative would result in higher noise and less accurate measurements. But really targeting some markets are medical, automotive, and electromechanical and power. Those are some of the key ones where customers have been asking us for years, we need better probing solutions, we need better technology, we need some way to reduce the noise to see these low frequency ripples or things that are hidden in the noise on 8-bit scopes.
So you said the WaveRunner is a long-running family.
That's correct.
This is the latest in the line. Talk a little bit about some of the design challenges that you overcame to get to this kind of performance. Was it solely in the ADC, or it must have been a little bit more complicated than that?
It kind of comes down to the ADC. A lot of people, when we ask where the highest bandwidth, high resolution oscilloscope, the question is, well, why hasn't anyone done this before? What is really limiting the more production of high resolution oscilloscopes? And it's really the ADC. There's hard to get high resolution ADCs with high sample rate.
Yeah.
There's a lot of solutions on the market, which in the digitizer world, you can get up to 24 bits, so really high precision, but for very slow signals. This is for customers that have kilohertz, and they want to see trends over long periods of time. And there was nothing near gigahertz sample rates until recently, which we have worked with National Semiconductor to get the new 2 gigasample per second ADCs to enable this technology.
So that was going to be my next question. Did you design it in-house, but you did it with National in partnership?
Right.
Okay, that's very interesting. And what was the design cycle on this? This was an 18-month project?
Generally, yeah, we're about 18 months. What helps is the previous model, which I mentioned we launched in February, it shares a lot of common features. So from a power supply, motherboard standpoint, the motherboard is shared, the power supply is very similar. So a lot of that design was shared with the 8-bit version. And so that was generally about 18 months.
So we seem, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I get the sense that we're in the middle of like the scope wars. I mean, you got all the test and measurement guys are just are duking it out.
Right.
I mean, you guys have new product lines, Tech has product lines. Everybody's coming out with new product lines. Why?
It's a very interesting market right now. The mid-range space has been validated by Rohde & Schwarz. They entered the market really targeting, a 1 to 2 gigahertz down into, the low megahertz range. And that's really been our strengths for a while, but there's a lot of offerings in the market today. And I think that's been enabled by the needs from embedded devices, which is really causing an explosion for serial data standards such as USB, I2C, and all these communications that are on these boards, the phones, the iPads, really enabling that. So that's been a sweet spot, and it's interesting how many players are in that space right now trying to capture that piece of the pie.
All right, so that keeps your engineers off the street and out of trouble, and that's good news. So if you are coming to the show floor, you happen to be watching this on the show floor. LeCroy's at booth number 824, and there's a giveaway actually of the smaller version of this, the WaveRunner Ace, and they're going to give that away at the end of the week. So come check it out. Come say hi to Bill. Bill will tell you a little bit more about this particular WaveRunner. And with that, we're going to take another break, change mics. We're going to dive into our next guest. So stay tuned, don't go too far away.